Get out now or we'll drag you out ourselves." That was the first thing I heard at dawn, shouted right through my cabin door in a voice so sharp it could cut steel. Two guys in costumes pretending they were cops banging around outside like they'd watched too many action movies. One of them probably holding a fake warrant with my name on it as if that was supposed to scare me. You could smell the arrogance through the wood. Final warning, they said, and you could tell they meant it. But see, the thing is, HOA enforcement around here doesn't usually ask twice. I just took another slow sip of coffee watching these clowns on my security monitor. Two men in off-brand police uniforms, hands shaking just enough to show they'd never worn a real badge out here in the Colorado mountain air at 5:30 in the morning, thinking they were about to break another homeowner. I didn't blink. Some folks spend their lives afraid of uniforms and threats. But some of us, well, we've met real power, real consequences, and real authority, and we know exactly how to spot the difference. 20 years in federal law enforcement teaches you all about performance versus the real thing. So I cracked the door open just enough to get a read on their next move. Neutral face, ready but not giving them anything. The shorter one shoved a letter at me. Pine Valley Community Code 847B, it said. Raised seal, fancy font, even a case number, very official looking if you didn't know what to look for. But their badge placement was off by 2 inches exactly. Rookie mistake. Civilians wouldn't notice, but after 2 decades of looking at uniforms and protocols, it screamed fake. Violation of the paint code, 15 grand fine, 48 hours to comply, or else. I asked real calm, "Do you have a warrant for this enforcement action?" That stopped them cold. Their confidence cracked like thin ice. I could see them glancing at their body cam. Somebody higher up had told them to record everything. Whoever ran this show understood the value of evidence but hadn't trained the actors well enough to hide their nerves. They tried to sound official. Police operate under civil authority. Warrants aren't required for community enforcement. Sure, buddy. Every word they said was being captured by my surveillance system and instantly uploaded to a federal server 3 states away. Let them dig their own hole. I'd been patient for 8 weeks, methodically collecting evidence, but now they'd made it personal. They threatened me in my own home. That always changes the game. Then a little twist. One of them says, "We'll be returning with President Blackwood herself." The way he said her title, you'd think she was a mob boss. There was real terror in his voice, not just job fear, personal, bone-deep dread. It's the kind of fear you only have if you've seen what someone is capable of. These weren't masterminds, just terrified employees following ugly orders. As soon as they pulled out, I checked their citation. Hidden in the seal, I found it a surveillance bug tiny as a grain of rice. I left it right where they wanted, smiling to myself. They thought they were spying on Thomas Kane, regular homeowner. What they'd really done was hand the feds direct access to their network. I texted my handler, "Subjects made contact, escalation imminent, recommend phase 2. The reply was immediate, "Keep your cover document, everything." Outside, I watched Karen Williams, the local HOA Queen Bee, self-declared president, pacing on her porch phone, glued to her ear, panic written all over her. I had a directional mic planted days ago. I heard every word. He's more stubborn than we anticipated, didn't react to the citation, asked about warrants, professional questions. Whoever was on the other end was cold as ice, handle him quietly. No witnesses. Pine Valley's reputation is everything. He either complies or disappears. I don't care which. I'd heard threats like that before, never at me, not at my own coffee table. See, that's the problem with these people, believe their own lies too much. I started digging into Pine Valley's fancy HOA website. It looked like $1 million. Perfect photos, glowing testimonials, airtight rules. But a few keystrokes told the real story. SSL cert registered to a Cayman Islands shell company business address was an empty lot in Denver, every photo a stock image, all fiction. And their surveillance bug was still feeding the feds everything. As the day wore on, Karen's calls got more desperate. "Ma'am, he's still being difficult. What do you want us to do?" The response, "Tomorrow morning, bring him to me. Use whatever force necessary. The community needs to see what happens to people who challenge my authority. Next thing I knew, Karen was out in the cold setting up a video camera aimed right at my cabin. She thought she was documenting her triumph. She was documenting her own downfall. My own cameras caught every move, her little show, her expensive gear, her nervous glances. All of it would go straight to the evidence vault. That night, I transmitted everything to Denver: audio, photos, analysis, vulnerabilities. 8 weeks of investigation finally paying off. My phone buzzed, "Excellent work. Pattern matches 12 similar operations. Defensive measures authorized if necessary." That was all I needed to hear. Next morning, 9 sharp, a black SUV rolled up. Same 2 fake cops plus a linebacker type. No uniforms this time, just tactical clothes and way too much swagger. They marched up, no knocking. "Thomas Kane, you're coming with us right now." No badges, no legal justification, just threats. Behind them, their muscle already prepping zip ties. I kept my voice steady for the cameras. "This is kidnapping. HOA doesn't have arrest powers under any law." The linebacker grinned. "Get in the car voluntarily or we'll assist you." You could see in their eyes they expected me to fold. What they didn't know was that I could neutralize all 3 in 10 seconds. But I let them take me. Made it look real, all the while transmitting everything through the camera in my shirt button and the GPS in my shoe. Karen emerged, filming the whole arrest. I noticed cabin windows shuttered tight. Neighbors too scared to watch, or maybe just too used to this circus. Mr. Kane refused to comply with community standards she announced for the camera. They loaded me into an SUV modified for prisoners, partitioned, reinforced, the whole 9 yards. This was no small-time scam. This was a shadow government built right here in the Colorado mountains. 43 minutes down winding roads through 3 security checkpoints until we arrived at an estate that looked like a fortress. High walls, guard towers, electronic gates. The linebacker announced, "Welcome to President Blackwood's private estate. This is where people learn to respect authority." Mansion screamed stolen money. Imported stone, lavish landscaping, custom woodwork, every dollar squeezed from terrified families. Inside, marble floors led straight to a fake courtroom, judge's bench, witness stand, even a jury box. Theatrics, but expensive. Blackwood herself finally appeared, steel gray hair in a severe bun Armani suit, coldest eyes I've ever seen. 6 armed guards. This wasn't some HOA busybody. This was a predator running an empire on fear. "Pine Valley Court is now in session," she declared, sitting behind the bench. "Defendant Thomas Kane, you stand accused of willful violation and disrespect for authority. How do you plead?" I looked around. Cataloged exits, security weapons, blind spots. "Not guilty to imaginary charges in your fake court?" I said, voice steady. But I knew the game maintained the role. Keep the cover. "You have no legal authority to detain me." Her expression went stone cold. "In Pine Valley, I am the law." She pointed to her giant charter. "Your continued resistance demonstrates the need for corrective measures." That's when she made her fatal mistake. "Search his cabin, seize all computer equipment, examine for evidence." She thought she'd find blackmail material. What she'd actually find was a federal honeypot full of tracking software. They dragged my laptop out. "I warned, ma'am, you really shouldn't access those devices." She didn't listen. "Nothing is beyond my authority in Pine Valley," she snapped. I watched them plug into the laptop, knowing the FBI now had live access to every server in their criminal operation. "Your resistance ends now," she intoned, nodding to her guards. "Citizens who cannot adapt must be relocated." The way she said relocated, you knew she'd done it before. Guards brought out fresh restraints, prepping me for a trip to the basement. I let them think they had total control. But they didn't know I was sending real-time coordinates to a tactical team already in position outside. Down in the basement, stone walls, soundproofing, interrogation gear, a metal chair bolted to the floor. How many residents disappeared from this room? The guards prepared zip ties closing in. The president doesn't like stubborn residents. One muttered. I steadied my breath. Let training take over. In 8 seconds flat, I took them down, 2 unconscious. One shaking so bad he could barely hold his weapon. I flashed my badge. Special Agent Thomas Kane, FBI. You've just assaulted a federal officer and your entire organization is under investigation. The last guard dropped his gun, face white as snow. I triggered the emergency beacon. Upstairs, all hell broke loose, feds swarming, warrants flying, Blackwood's empire collapsing in real time. You have no authority here, she screamed, but no one was listening. The difference between real and fake power was playing out in front of everyone. The feds moved through the mansion like a surgical team, room by room, document by document, Miranda rights in hand. Blackwood tried to destroy evidence, but we'd been copying her servers for weeks. She watched her own threats play back on the big screen, her face when she realized every word was recorded, priceless. Federal agents found millions in stolen funds, fake documents, and a web connecting 12 other communities across 4 states. This wasn't just Pine Valley. This was organized crime at scale. Karen, the same woman who filmed my arrest, begged for witness protection, spilling everything about the recruitment, money laundering, and how they roped in ordinary folks until nobody remembered how it all started. Local news helicopters circled overhead, the story breaking live shadow government fake courts, torture rooms, millions stolen. Blackwood got 18 years in federal prison, no parole. Her accomplices lined up for deals. Families who lost everything started getting checks back, real justice, not just headlines. The fake courtroom became a community center. Pine Valley voted for a new HOA, transparent and accountable. Property values bounced back, but the best part, people lost the fear. Old folks planted gardens. Young couples had kids without wondering if some made-up violation would steal their home. You know, it's funny, the real victory wasn't the arrest, it was the return of trust. Folks started asking questions again, demanding proof, remembering that in this country authority comes from consent, not intimidation. I taught a few classes at the FBI Academy afterwards, showed the new agents what fake power looks like and how to tear it down with patience, truth, and a little courage. These days I sit on my porch with a cup of coffee that tastes a whole lot better without bugs in the appliances. Sometimes I catch the sunrise over the ridge and remember what it felt like to wonder if justice was just a word. Pine Valley proved it's a living thing, fragile, sure, but real if you fight for it. Funny how the colors of my cabin, once called a violation, now stand for something bigger, proof that real authority means protecting people, not scaring them. So let me ask you, when's the last time you questioned someone's claim to power? Ever seen intimidation dressed up as law? Drop your story or your thoughts below. Where's the line between order and overreach? In the end, justice is what you make it. And sometimes all it takes is one person willing to say, "Not today."